Hello friends, thank you for joining us. We're going to be offering to you a series of segments related to the Kennedy assassination. Now, I believe this is a very, very important topic. Many people in our society, and I consider myself one, ask the questions, why do I feel so disquieted when I think about the Kennedy assassination? There's sort of a lingering sense that we don't have all the information. Well, a lot of the information we do have, but this is important information that I think average citizens need to know. It's important that we understand exactly what happened on November 22nd, 1963. And so what we'll be doing in these series of segments is offering some information to you that will cause you to ask yourself, what really happened that day, and have I gotten all the information? So it's a very comprehensive topic. In this particular segment, I'm going to deal with a few points related to some questions, some fundamental questions that I believe go to the heart of the case of why JFK was killed as a result of a conspiracy and not strictly at the hands of Lee Harvey Oswald. So for the purposes of our segment today, I'm going to limit it to those few points. Now there's so much that we can talk about and so much that we can discuss, but I won't, for example, be going into the magic bullet theory. I won't be going into Clay Shaw or Oswald's trips to Mexico. Those are all very, very vibrant topics related to this issue and very, very important. However, we'll deal with those in some future segments. What I want to deal with today is just some fundamental questions that we need to ask ourselves. If someone were to say to you, give me a few reasons why you think that the Kennedy assassination was not what we found in the Warren Commission, but actually as a result of a conspiracy, these are a few points that you need to think about. So I'm going to deal with them one at a time. And I believe that these are about 6 key points that you should ask yourself. Number 1, the shooting job. You know, when I was in the military, I was in the Army, and when I was stationed at Fort Huachuca, my roommate was a member of the Green Berets, and he was part of a unit that whenever the United States sent forces to other countries to train other countries' armies, he would be one of the people that would go for that. He was a very experienced a Green Beret operative. He was a weapons expert. You know, when you go to another country and you have to train the military, you have to be an expert on the type of armaments that they're using. So this man understood armaments not only in our own military but worldwide. He could look at an AK-47 and he could tell just by sight, that's a Czechoslovakian made, that's a Chinese made, that's a Russian made. I mean, he could break it apart, disassemble it. And he could do that for many types of weapons. So we had a conversation one day, and I asked him what he thought about the Kennedy assassination. Now again, remember, this is a man who's a weapons expert. He's a sniper and a weapons expert. And he said to me something that was very curious. He said, Greg, he said, that particular weapon, the Mannlicher Carcano rifle, 7.62 millimeter, could not have done the shooting job on JFK that particular day. He said, I'm an expert with weapons. I'm an expert with rifles. I'm an expert shot. Have been for many, many years. I could not have done that shooting job that Lee Harvey Oswald is purported to have done. First of all, he explained that the Mannlicher Carcano weapon is a very heavy weapon. It has a telescopic sight, but it also has bolt action. So when you shoot it, if you're looking through the telescopic sight at a target, you've got to pull your eye away, eject the shell, and then load the next shell in by pulling the hammer back. Then you have to recompose the shot, line up on the target, fix your target, and shoot. So what we're supposed to believe, that Lee Harvey Oswald, with that very, very bulky, ill-equipped weapon, was able to do a masterful shooting job within 6 seconds. He placed shots, world-class precision, within that limousine, within that short period of time. My friend said it's strictly impossible. Also, many people may not know that the FBI hostage rescue team, which again, expert riflemen, expert marksmen, expert snipers, tried to duplicate the shooting job and were not able to do it, except after numerous attempts. So we have to ask ourselves, how would Lee Harvey Oswald, with the pressure, the adrenaline building up, be able to hold himself steady and do a world-class shooting job? It was just simply impossible. Why? Because it didn't happen.
Many people have said that Lee Harvey Oswald was an expert, would you explain the differences between hitting a target and the different levels of expertise in the military? Because a person who hits a target a certain amount of time is called an expert. Then isn't that something called a marksman? And then would you explain that, please? Because many people try to argue that Lee Harvey Oswald was an expert, and he was an expert in the Army. But would you please explain the different levels?
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. First of all, okay, so Lee Harvey Oswald was in the Army. He was in the Marine Corps. And when he was in the Marine Corps, we know that he was not an expert marksman. We know that he had done what's called Maggie's Drawers, and that means, I was in the Army, we call it BOLO, which essentially means you fail to qualify the first, because you're allowed 2 times to do it when you go through your qualifications. And there's numerous targets that pop up, targets that are moving by you, and you have to be able to engage each and every one, and you have to be able to have taken down 70% of them. So twice Lee Harvey Oswald was unable to do it. The people that he served in the Marine Corps with say that he was not a very good shot. So we have to ask ourselves, the man that I'm relating to you, my roommate, was a guy who actually was an expert, had been for many years, an expert rifleman, an expert sniper, an expert with small arms, says that he could not have done that shot. But very good question. Point number 2. Eyewitnesses close to the scene of the assassination all point to the grassy knoll. No one says, well, it was the Texas School Book Depository. Maybe there have been a couple that have said that, but we have to understand that most of the people who were closest to the assassination in the area of Dealey Plaza all point to the grassy knoll. And in fact, 20 police officers who were also in Dealey Plaza that day say that they saw or registered the shots coming from the grassy knoll, but they were never questioned or never asked to appear before the Warren Commission.